Hey coaches, my name is Mark with Elev8 Consulting and Training. Today we are talking about plyometrics and using boxes in your training. And we have our coach Rio and Paris is going to kind of walk us through.
Today we're going to go over the depth jump. We're going to talk about why it's important to incorporate depth jump into your training. So the depth jump is one of those things that we could incorporate to show them the importance of force and speed to the ground. So the first thing we're going to do is a traditional depth jump. All right, so we're going to have Rio step on this box. He's going to maintain an athletic stance. Right? He doesn't want to be too narrow and he doesn't want to be too wide. All right. On this depth jump, what we're trying to do, right, is we're trying to slowly get to the ground, and as soon as we get to the ground, we're going to change directions and to get into a vertical jump as fast as possible. Right? We're looking for speed from right to left. 1, 2, and then up. Exactly, just like that. All right. Many times athletes come off the depth jump and their force to the ground is very, very strong, and their entire foot touches the ground. We want to remain on the balls of our feet and remain athletic. All right, let's try it one more time. 1, 2, up. Good. That's perfect. All right, now we're going to try it with the left foot. Make sure, coaches, when we go through this, we do not do it with one leg. We want to go through both legs. We want to make sure that they're good laterally to their right and to their left. All right, go ahead. Left foot. Good. One thing that we want to correct on that left foot is making sure that our left toe isn't already leading into the ground, right? We want to continue to stay athletic, keep that foot flat, and we're going to touch with the balls of our feet on the way down, and then once that right foot touches the ground, we're going straight in the air. Good, better, just like that. Good.
So what if you see an athlete and the knees start to collapse? What are you looking at in terms of knee position and foot position? How wide should each foot hit the ground, as opposed should they land here? Should they land tight? What are you looking for?
So we want to remain as athletic as possible. All right. Most of the time when athletes, that's one of the biggest points, is when athletes jump in the air, they don't land the way that they jumped, and then they don't jump the way that they land. So most of the time when we have an athlete, we go through this about 10, 15 times to make sure that their jump is mirroring their landing and their landing is mirroring their jump. All right, so as we go again, this same athletic stance that he has, when we touch the ground right to left or left to right, we want to jump in the air at that same stance and land on the ground at that same stance. Good, perfect, just like that.
So if you land on the ground in an athletic stance, you can go somewhere else with it, as opposed to just being stuck in that position.
Exactly.
Perfect.
All right, now we're going to roll into making it translate into movement in our field of play. When we go laterally, most athletes don't understand where both their feet are supposed to go, even if we're unilateral with one leg or the other. All right, so the next movement, we're going to go on the smaller box with one leg, and then we're going to change directions off of 2 to land on the bigger box. All right, so I'm going to show the example, and then I'm going to coach Rio through it. All right, so Rio, step in the middle for me. All right, so we're going to start Rio on whatever leg he feels most comfortable starting off with. All right, right? All right, so he's going to start off on his right leg, right? His left leg will come off the ground. All right, then he'll jump onto the box, back on the ground with your right, and we'll change directions this way. We never want to change directions into that knee. All right, that creates a lot of injuries. All right, so when we land right, back to the right, and then we'll go left. There we go, just like that. Good, perfect. Again, we're going speed back to the ground and then force off the ground the same way we do with the depth jump.
So you change in hip position in the air?
Yes.
As opposed to staying here and
then
laterally jumping?
Yes.
Okay.
Because most of the time, in most movements, our athletes are not going to land on the ground and then immediately go laterally. They have to have a sense of direction. So we're going to use that sense of direction right here to turn our hips in the air to get to where we want to get to. Good, perfect. Just like we said on our depth jump, we want to make sure that we're working both sides, even if the athlete isn't as comfortable. So now we're going to go on to the left. Good, perfect. Another thing to pay attention to, coaches, is pay attention to how they land on this taller box, okay? If they're landing 1 foot before the other, then we're going to start focusing on a little bit more things like timing and how they're coming off the ground. One more time. Good, perfect. Key points to bring up is how hard that are these athletes landing on the boxes or even on the ground, right? Because most of the time athletes don't understand the way that they land on these boxes, the way that they land on the ground leads up into the next movement that they have. So one thing that we like to coach and train is make sure that you're landing on the balls of your feet, and that way it provides a soft and a smooth landing. That way, if he was to change direction from this box, which he should never do, he's able to do it smoothly and without creating injury in his body. Good. We should have almost a silent landing every time that we jump on or off an object.
When would you implement plyo with strength training? I know a lot of times what I'm doing is I'll hit something very heavy and then jump into some plyometric to make sure that I'm incorporating a lot of that activation that I just recruited from the barbell into a plyo. And when are some of the times you include plyometric training into your training, into your strength training?
There's a lot of different methods and a lot of different ideas on when and why. I like to throw it in when we're going more of like a speed day, so that way it translates over into their sport or field of play. A lot of times that a lot of athletes, they don't understand how the weight translates into their sport. And I think plyometrics is a good opportunity as coaches to show how athleticism and explosiveness can translate after adding or after coming away from a weight.
We're doing it on a speed day. We're also doing it if we're doing some French contrast training where we're lifting and doing some explosiveness.
Yes.
Afterwards, basically whatever you want to recruit out of the athlete, whatever kind of result you want to get. So perfect. Thanks. That's awesome.
Thank you.